Welcome to ZulloScope. I'm going to leave this up here for the first 5 minutes or so, let everyone come in. We're not scheduled to start till 10 o'clock, so from here we will wait. I have one rule: I always stop for questions. So please, as you have any questions, please ask them. You log into Periscope to ask questions. You can view this on my Twitter timeline. So I just also released ZulloScope.com, which allows you to sign up for email and text notifications. Here are my advertisers. Please donate. This allows me to do this. That way I don't have to look for advertisers for this. Check out my book, The End is Near, Save Us. There's a battle for the soul of our nation. Do money and ignorance rule, or will science and tolerance prevail? I'm making a giveaway, so please retweet this live feed and you'll be entered for a giveaway. If you are watching this as a rewind, you can just fast forward until you see my face. That means that we have started. Again, I'm going to leave this up until 10 o'clock. Let everyone come in, and from 10 o'clock we will get started. Again, I have one rule: I stop for questions, so please ask me any questions that you'd like. You view this in your Twitter timeline or in Periscope, but it's looking like it's not appearing in my Twitter timeline right now for some reason. I mean, the tweet is there, but it's not a live video. So you might have to click on the link and open it in Periscope or watch this as a rewind. Again, Zullo.com, get notifications, email, and text messages. You're my advertisers, so please donate. Check out my book, There's a Battle for the Soul of Our Nation. The End is Near, Save Us. Do money and ignorance rule, or will science and tolerance prevail? I'm doing a getaway during this, just retweet or favorite this live on Periscope tweet, and you'll be entered to win. And if you're watching this as a rewind, you can fast forward until when you see me. I'm about to get started here. For some reason, this still does not seem like it is appearing in my timeline like it did before. So if you are not able to view this, just please watch it as a rewind. I will repost it as well. Maybe Periscope is having issues at the time, but I'm still going to talk politics and what I said I would and when I would. So just one more minute here, and we're about to get started. This is ZulloScope. Again, one rule: I stop for questions. Watch this in Periscope at ZulloScope. Watch it on my timeline. Check out my book again. Watching this as a rewind, just fast forward to when I see my face. We're about to get started. Again, this doesn't appear to be loading right, but in Twitter, but I will still proceed with this and post it as a rewind. So let's begin. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so tonight we're doing Let's Talk Politics and Income Inequality. I had a poll, you guys spoke, and so income inequality it is. So by definition, income inequality refers to the extent in which income is distributed in an uneven manner. Okay, so when you're thinking about this, I think of it in two statistics: what everyone owns and then what everyone earns. So looking at this, I have two numbers that are very alarming. What everyone owns: the top 10% in our country own $44 trillion, and the other 90% have $22 trillion. And that's a very alarming statistic right there on what you own, what you earn. In 1976, the 1% earned 9% of all income. In 2012, it earned 22.4. They earned 22.46%. So these are pretty alarming statistics on what you own and what you earn. So my question is how did this happen? How did we get to these statistics? How did these figures? And what can we do about it? So at first, I'd say the beginning is a war on unions. Okay, so unions were formed as a protection for the people against a oversupply of labor pool and greed by corporations. So if there was a large group of people working and all of a sudden they wanted to cut wages for any reason they wanted to or needed to, these group of people formed together for several reasons: to protect worker rights, safety, They formed, sometimes even in the beginning, ways to earn, to borrow money from each other. So they did that, and then, I'm going to, there we go. So so that's why they were formed. Now, in the modern sense, unions are very much so to protect worker wages. It's not really so much the manufacturing side of it. It's more the teacher, public service side, and then on the lower side, the minimum wage side, where you have a lot of membership and fighting against income inequality. Now, what you see with it is there's a very direct correlation, as you saw I tweeted today, in membership of middle class, of income and union membership. There's a very direct tie, and that kind of speaks for itself. You know, the more you can negotiate and fight for your wages and not have your job replaced easily or threaten to replace, the more a corporation has to bend and pay you more and chew into their bottom line. But it's explainable, I think, at the same time. But that's beyond the point. The second reason for this is technology, automation, computer programs. They become account managers overall. You know, login softwares have replaced a lot of calling in to see where you are, what status you are. The second, manufacturing. Robotics today, $40,000. We can replace a worker, and they work 24-hour work shifts. They are $1 an hour to maintain, and overall, these are replacing the middle class jobs. Middle class manufacturing jobs. So, and then you have customer service phone systems. We've all experienced and dealt with those. They're being outsourced. They are taking away jobs at the same time. You know, the wages have decreased because of, how easily they can be replaced. So when they do have people, it's a much lower wage and they go overseas. So you have a lot of attrition there. Then you have do-it-yourself services in stores today. Automated checkout lines, red boxes. These takeaway jobs that used to pay, wages. Less people had to work. The lower income jobs, it was higher. It was like a pyramid. It built on top of each other. So the next real drain on this and the creation of this income inequality is corporate and 1% tax avoidance. So I'm going to read you a quote from my book. Progressive taxation ensures greed and poverty does not beset opportunity and freedom. Now, this basically means as the rich get richer, and they're going to have more resources to invest, and they're going to be able to make more money. And then the lower levels, they're going to have to work harder, they're going to have to put in more time, and they're going to have to earn more money. So you have social services build, infrastructure build, military, everything that has become a necessity in the global age, we have to pay for at the same time. So progressive taxation ensures that poor people don't stay poor forever. They have opportunity, and income inequality is the greatest threat to liberty, beyond the ability to walk around and be free and do what you want. It's the opportunity to pursue those dreams in an economic sense. So, some statistics. The top 400 earners in our country paid 16.7% in their taxes. 16.7 top 400. How are they doing this, U.S.? They manipulate deductions, offshore tax havens. They write off things that they shouldn't. A variety of things that go on that really affect the system. So then you have a corporate tax avoidance. Looking at an alarming statistic there. In 1950, corporations paid $3 per $1 worker paid by a worker. Now it's only 25 cents. So this is a massive change from what it used to be. Overseas, now why has this happened? Overseas earnings is staying overseas. When these companies earn money overseas, as long as they keep it there, they don't have to pay U.S. taxes on that money. You have corporate inversions where companies are basing overseas but have little offices here, avoiding local taxes but selling to consumers. I think if you sell to U.S. consumers, you should pay U.S. federal taxes. And then you have this warped argument from the right about effective versus statutory tax rates. So you have statutory tax rates of what they say they're large, 35, 38, they're up there, high percentage in the world. But then looking at the effective rate after deductions and the manipulations and loopholes, these companies are paying one of the lowest, near 20%, 25% in tax rates. So they're able to they're shirking, and they're telling you they're paying more when they're actually paying less. And what's fueling this is it's corporate greed and the insistence that you have to get this EPS bottom line and you have to get it higher, and that's where your stock's going. That's how it grows. The CEOs are often hired as scapegoats today more than anything else. When something goes bad, the stock just rescues the stock price. They take a golden parachute with a large amount of money. That's why you get these large bonuses, so that other companies are going to look at this and say, why did this go on? This is the amount of money here, and what did they do? And they're not going to be able to get a job. It's going to look negatively. So they're really golden parachutes. And then you have a minimum wage, a minimum amount of income you can earn. I have another book quote for you. You can't reduce dependence on government when you protect corporations' ability to pay low wages. That's another quote in my book. Working full-time at minimum wage pays $250 a week. There is a problem with the wages there, not workers. $250 a week, you cannot survive on that. Survival with the necessities of life today, especially when public services are looking to be slashed across the board by the right. If you look at worker productivity, the output that they produce, they're making companies about $22 an hour. And, that's what they're making them, and it has stayed stagnant for a while now. We look at the 13 states that took it upon themselves to raise the minimum wage, 45% more increase in those job states than the other states that did not. So we see it as also a GDP demand. Consumers spend money. With spending money comes a growth of demand, and to meet that demand, you have to hire people to meet it. That's how it works. And then let's look at corporations today. They're really like interchangeable parts. I love them. They allow products to be sold in one area and then another, and they reduce costs across the board because they store things like Amazon has so many. Walmart and Target, they have massive distribution networks. So this allows the minimum wage not to really as used to be tied to the cost of goods sold as it once was. So for example, in Australia, you have a Big Mac that costs $4.94, but minimum wage is $16.66. That's a 29% ratio. France, you have a Big Mac is $4.43 with a $12.09 minimum wage. That's a 36.6% ratio. In the United States, you have a $7.25 minimum wage, and the Big Mac is still $4.20. No massive decrease at a 57.9% ratio. And then you have the United Kingdom, which is one of the most isolated nations in terms of shipping on where you have to get to. They spend $3.82 for a Big Mac with a $9.83 minimum wage. That's a 38.8 percentage thing. So the United States happens to have the largest percentage in terms of corporate profits on the minimum wage side, but their cost of the Big Mac is noticeably lower. The United Kingdom, in fact, has a lower cost for Big Mac, but their minimum wage is, in fact, $2.50 higher than ours. So corporations have this ability to be like interchangeable parts and transport goods very easily, especially in the global marketplace that we exist today. And then at the same time, you have minimum wage jobs aren't just kids' jobs anymore. 58.7% only are kids. So this atom that these supposed to be transition jobs. When you're in school, when high school, college, a little bit of work here and there. Overall that's just not holding. You have families working these jobs, so you have to look at minimum wages sometimes the sole income for families and breadwinners. And before, when I was speaking about $250 a week and the absolute maximum minimum wage, you have problems there. I ask overall, is it really plausible that 150 million Americans are being truly lazy, or is it more likely that 400 Americans are being greedy? I like to say Occam's razor. The simplest explanation here it seems to ring true. I don't think 150 million of us are lazy. I think that the opportunity is not what it once used to be. I think corporations are taking advantage of that. 1% is taking advantage of that, and that's why you see such a shift in what we own and what we earn towards the top in our nation. And looking at policy to change this, looking at Republican budget proposals, you'd think the big economic problem is the rich have too little and the poor too much, and that I don't think is certainly the case. Apparently this did not view in my Twitter timeline, but I did proceed with talking about this.